Okay, the unique features of our new book on strategy from the outside in is actually embodied in the subtitle, Profiting from Customer Value. The concept of outside in, inside out has been around for a long time, but in very different ways. The original outside-in view was, in fact, the old Porter 5-4 structural analysis of industries, which looked at forces of competitive rivalry, and the aim was to find a defensible position. The role of customers in this was really fascinating, as embodied in the notion of the bargaining power of customers. So customers were viewed as another competitive force, and it was a zero-sum game. That view, by the way, still has a lot of validity. It recognizes markets are segmented and complex, but it's been increasingly supplanted almost by the dominant inside-out view of organizations respecting the resource-based view. And this idea is that you've got resources, and job of management is to not only manage them, but exploit them and leverage them. And this is really inside out because it's looking for efficiency improvements and finding ways to use those resources. We build on a whole other stream of research based on the notion of a market-oriented organization or a market-driven organization, in which you start with a customer, you stand in their shoes, and look at how they make choices. So it's all about your relative position in the customer's mind and how much value each of the alternatives is delivering. So we build on that, and from that vantage point, we look at the organization through the customer's eyes, and what are their competitive choices? And then we, from that, derive four customer value imperatives. But everything is focused on customer value, and that's where the uniqueness comes in. As we look at companies that have done this well and consistently over time versus poorly, I'm actually reflecting back on the story of McDonald's. And they did both, which is really fascinating. In about 2001, McDonald's frankly had lost their way. Their performance was awful, share price down by 2/3, and it was known basically as a fast food fuel depot. And service was terrible, food was uninteresting, customer satisfaction ratings way down, and essentially what they had done is they had focused on this strong brand and how they could leverage it by expanding the number of franchised outlets. So they were all about growing by adding outlets, i.e. from the inside out. Well, they just totally lost track of the customers. 2004-05, a new management team came along and said, wait a minute, we've got this deteriorating position. Let's start back and take an outside-in view at our strategy and focus on improving the customer experience, which they did in many, many ways. And I'll just give you one instance of the sort of things they were looking at. They discovered, and through some phenomenally good customer insight research, that mothers would bring their kids to have lunch at McDonald's, and the mothers wouldn't order a thing. They'd just stand there, have a glass of water, watch their kid eat the Big Mac. So based on that insight, now that data had been around, but if you're an inside organization, if you're looking at the world from the inside out, you don't necessarily have those deep insights. You're not even thinking that way. They said, all right, let's understand better what's getting in the way, what do they think about our food, and then let's get creative about adding menu options that are appealing, including, that was the genesis of the salad option. Now, you could say in retrospect, well, that's pretty straightforward, but the fact of the matter was the previous management team had not gone down that path because they were so compelled to add more franchise, which, by the way, angered their existing franchise holders. There's been a long stream of research on market orientation and the effect on profitability and revenue. In fact, there was a recent analysis that pulled together the results of 114 different studies on the impact of market orientation, which is variously defined as superior skills in understanding, attracting, and keeping customers, or looking at the looking at the business through the customer's eyes. So various definitions having to do with the use and dissemination and application of information on customers and markets. There's a very solid correlation between market orientation and revenue and profit. That is important as a touch point for us. I've also done work on the notion of peripheral vision of organizations, their ability to see sooner. And we find, again, businesses that are vigilant, that are scanning their horizons, standing out there at the periphery, really outperform those that are purely focused on efficiency management. And so we've built upon those two streams of research. The difference is we've taken the market orientation concept and have asked, okay, how is that going to help us build and manage better strategies, better competitive strategies? So we've taken that whole stream of research quite a bit further down the road.